Hey there, everybody. Hey there, everybody. Hope everybody's good. Everybody's safe, following the directives of your city, state, county health department, and being smart. And this is a little bit behind the scenes here. I'm replaying the '83 season. Seaver came back to the Mets in '83. It was exciting for New York baseball. He was an iconic figure. And I started off with APA. APA is a system that was created by Dick Seats or Seats, I think it is, in the 30s, 40s, depending what you read and where you read it. So it's an older system. It's mathematically, based on, a strong foundation. But the pitching wasn't, I don't think the pitching was one of the major areas of focus. I think it was more getting the hitting right and then making sure the pitching didn't interfere too much with that. So what you get is kind of a one-sided game a little bit, where pitching doesn't come into effect, or it's always there, but it's not very detailed. In other words, the variance for pitchers is like 100 points almost. So, in terms of ERA and, of course, batting average, that doesn't have an effect, I don't think, too much that I can think of. But anyway, so what I did is I picked up the PDF for Payoff Pitch, and I'm thinking of course, Payoff Pitch has many more bells and whistles. It's extremely inexpensive. I picked up this PDF for $9. That's right, $9. And now I'm just setting it up a little bit and just showing you how I do it. There was a forum discussion on, PDFs and, if the time and effort is worth it. And I was very, very honest, I think, and I try to always be honest. I would not recommend it if there's a different way to go. Now, I do it because what happens is I still have 3 sets or 4 seasons of cards that I never opened. So why am I going to spend $50, $60, $70 to order a set of cards, pull two or three teams, then get sidetracked to something else and never get into it? If I was 110% sure that I'm going to play this out multiple times, then, you make the investment. It's not a big investment. The card quality is amazing. But for something that I may, touch and go upon, and why not just buy a PDF for $9, print out the teams, a few teams that I need, and then see how I feel about. Now, if I'm really into replaying the season, then I get the actual card set. Otherwise, my shelf space is kind of limited. Now, these are the main, these are some of the main pitchers for the Mets. Carlos Diaz. So I'm putting them separate from pitchers who are coming. Ed Lynch is now on the roster. Neil Allen I've been using. These other 4 pitchers are not available yet. So I'm using my trusty Lesion cutter, and I use 90-pound paper because accidentally it came to me. I made an order. I through Amazon, and I accidentally clicked 90-pound thinking it was 110-pound. But you know what? It works just as well. It's actually a little bit easier to cut, a little bit easier on my printer. So now the cutting lately has been a little bit tricky. I do not totally know what's going on with my printer, with my cutter here. So I've got to be a little bit cautious. I had one of the players got a little damaged, and I had to get some Scotch tape. Poor Mark Bradley took a beating. He was in a car accident. Luckily, he'll be all right. But I don't want to print out another side. I don't want to print out a whole page and waste all that ink just for one card. So it was just the side that got beat up a little bit. You can still read all the numbers. I put a little Scotch tape on there. He's a reserve anyway, so he doesn't play all the time. So it's not the end of the world. It's all good. It's not like it's Darryl Strawberry or Tom Seaver. Hope everybody's well, and this is a little behind the scenes. I have a game right about to start, and it's a game, an APA basic game. It's the Astros versus the Mets, and it's Mike Torrez going against Nolan Ryan at Shea Stadium. So, but before that, I started doing this, so I wanted to finish it up, and it's just cutting up the 1983 version of Payoff Pitch. So I call this short video that I'm doing behind the scenes, right, with a mad tabletop gamer. I once was a mad war gamer. I played war games pretty much and painted a lot of World War II combat figures, and I was very into the North African theater of war. It was called the Gentleman's War, and I thought that was very cool. And I recreated a lot of it, and it was a lot of kind of adventure and hit and run. You know, that the program called the Rat Patrol was based on the North African campaign. Primarily, it was directed by the British, right? But the American TV program had one Brit in a group of 3 Americans, and they rode 2 Jeeps, and it was real exciting for a kid. And that's what I remember from my childhood. So as you can see, it's very, very simple to do this. Did I? I think I missed one side, or no? Did I? No, I did not. I got that side. So Bo Diaz, he's not with the Mets yet. Walt Terrell is with the Mets. He's been starting. Ombe is with the Mets. So Craig Swan is now, again, I started the season with APA baseball, but a lot of Dernier, this is, he's with Phillies, so I'm going to set him aside. And Craig Swan has started a couple of games already, but this is going to give more uniqueness to every pitcher. There's 12 possibilities here. And then, of course, there's tons of configurations. So every pitcher is going to be different, and pretty much, and you can see that, right? Every pitcher is different. Craig Swan has a defense and a tough, then it's in play and a tough, then it's a wheelhouse and a patient, then it's a defense and a patient, then it's a defense and a tough, wheelhouse and a ballpark, tough in a ballpark, and a ballpark and a patient. So I don't have any repeats so far in the staff. And that's the great thing about Payoff Pitch Baseball. It's simple enough to play very quickly, 99.9% chartless. Ivan De Jesus, that's Phillies. Doug Sisk, he's a big part of the very dominant Met bullpen of 1983. They have an outstanding bullpen with 3 horses. Alan Orozco, actually it's Orozco, Carlos Diaz, the lefty, 2 lefties, and Sisk and Allen righties. So, and that's pretty much it. So I cut up the Mets. I prepared the Mets. This is without the fringe players because this gets me very close to all the players, and then I just have a handful of players that are fringe players that I may have to pull in case they start a game or something like that. But if they only come in, you know, for just a couple of at-bats, a couple of games, I probably won't be printing those. Here's Tom Seaver, and that's one of the reasons that this is what drove me to replay the 83 season. Seaver back in New York. And then Mike Torres. He was a big pitcher in the late 70s for the Yankees and the Red Sox. He pitched 2 iconic games. One game was the 3 home run game by Reggie Jackson against the Dodgers in '77. And the other one was that 163rd game, the tie-breaking game in 1978. And as you can see, like I said, no 2 cards out of all these pitchers are alike. Whereas, you know, so that's one of the things. And whereas with APA Basic, you know, pretty much everybody's got the same card. There's only 4 different grades with tiny variances that really affect very little. So anyway, this is CP Cards and Dice. I cut these up. I prepared these. And then I'm probably going to do Houston. I don't know what, or maybe the team that they face after Houston. And that's about it. This is Behind the Scenes with Cards and Dice TV. I hope you enjoyed it, and tune into our replays and our chats and our unboxings and our reviews and our Topps baseball cards and so forth. Take care, guys. Sports Time Machine in the house.